everybody! Welcome back. It's Dev Stream 173, our first Dev Stream back since Tenno Con 2023. Moving along. Also in October, although it's spooky month and we have really fun things happening, it's also a very special month for Warframe and digital streams because we have our Quest to Conquer Cancer campaign that will be running for the entire month of October. I have myself decked out in all of the Conquer items. So obviously we have previous years, we have the chest ribbon, we have the shoulders, and then what is going to be unlocked this year if you reach the incentive is the leg armor, which will complete the Conquer collection for Quest to Conquer Cancer. We have some beautiful display by fan artist Melee Bun that could be yours. We have a new glyph and sigil. Awesome. We have a new Vermink floof. Oh, that's the in-game version right there on my floor. Okay. And then we have IRL version. This was actually voted by you guys last year on what floof you guys wanted to see for this year's campaign, and you got the Vermink. So there you go, Steve.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. And as well, as Reb mentioned, UI theme.
I don't know if you've seen this yet. Oh, okay. It's
I have.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Look at that. New Conquer theme and background, and it works exquisitely with other themes as well.
Oh my god, it's so good!
That is.
Oh my god, it's so good!
It's beautiful. Another incentive for just the entire month campaign of October. Also happening in October, typically we do Knights of Navarus. So Knights of Navarus is going to return. It's our spooky thematic event with Daughter. She has a lovely store. She's morbidly dressed. She's got music. It's a really good time. She'll have some lovely things for sale for you. We also have new glyphs. Thank you, Danny. The bottom right one of Lotus and the Cat is going to be in Daughter's store, and the other 4 will be in the market if you want to pick those up. We have a brand new sign, Dana, that is very spooky, Rev.
Okay,
what am I looking at here?
It's half a bat wing.
This is driving me nuts. It's so cool.
Yeah,
the wing's so
look at
cool.
it. Ooh.
Oh,
But not only that, we
what
also
a
have
cool
some
design.
Sentinel accessories.
Yes.
Look at the little spooky guy. Here we have the Cavum Sentinel accessory, so we can look at his little, he's got a knife in his head.
Oh,
Yes.
man.
We have the Navarus Lotus skin.
So for those of you that have been playing Warframe through a lot of our Halloween events, the Lotus sometimes looks like a vampire. She has blood on her face. Her skin turns this ghoulish blue. So we'll have a Navarus Lotus skin that will have the blood detail there. So you could permanently have Navarus Lotus as a skin.
We love to see it. All right, here she is.
Dagath.
Oh.
Dagath?
Dagath?
You choose.
Now, in my
She will also be coming with an alternate helmet. This is the, I'm going to say it wrong, Gansian.
Oh, that's actually.
it is
Sorry?
stunning.
Yep.
Stunning
If you ever
work.
wanted to be a unicorn, no brainer. We are going to do a little bit of gameplay in a minute that will feature her brand new signature blade and whip, the Door Clave. Damn it.
Dorclave.
Dorclave. The Dorclave.
Her first ability is Word Sights. This is a radial from you. You're getting these kind of spectral sides that will target enemies. So you can see here, you can cast it. You'll get a big spin of those word sides, dealing damage, targeting enemies, and then flying off. But once you cast Doom, it's going to be a cone in front of Dagath, and it's cursing enemies. So these enemies are doomed. The curse lasts a duration. And these cursed enemies get what we're calling the Phantom Wrath curse. So she has a cone in front of her. She's hitting enemies with Doom. If you hit your your Word Scythe on them, it'll do additional damage. It'll do more instances of that Phantom Wrath curse, which creates this sickle over their head that does additional damage. Then we have Grave Spirit, which is kind of her damage buff and survivability ability. So Megan, if you've pressed 3, you have your Grave Spirit on. If you die while this is active,
I'm trying to die.
so Megan has died. She's now taking a spectral form, which is a instance in where you're kind of truly a Grave Spirit. And then the ultimate, this is based on her lore that you'll learn from Grandmother. This is called Rakali's Cavalry, which, why don't you just hit it up? Summon a charge of caves. Rakali was Dagath's loyal companion. You'll learn about her.
Cool.
Actually, why don't you hop on?
Oh, why don't I?
Yeah. As you know, in open worlds, you can,
And the passive?
Oh yes, her passive. We have a name for it, which
Abundant Abyss.
Abundant Abyss. Yeah. So the passive is essentially when you get energy or health drops, there's a chance that they'll be 200% more effective. So you're kind of increasing the yield of what the enemies are leaving behind, be it their energy or their life essence in a health orb. So those pickups will have a chance to just be much, much stronger. So similar if you're using things like Arcane, I think it's Arcane Pulse or Arcane Energize, you'll be able to get us just a stronger payoff from energy and health orbs. And there is no cooldown on it once it triggers, I think, is our current planning. So with Dagath, we have a two-prong approach. Well, actually three technically, because you can buy her in the market. But for players that want to earn her, there is going to be a combination of kind of giving new content to the original course. You can go to gameplay now, Danny, by the way. Sorry. The core original 6 syndicates are going to have something that we're calling abyssal beacons. This abyssal beacon, right now it's using a placeholder image of a void key, but they're very much inspired by the original void key system back in the day. They're basically treasure maps to a haunted ship that the Grineer foolishly piloted their galleon to what we're calling the abyssal zone. The ship's not doing so well. The syndicates all have members aboard, but you can grab those treasure maps and you can run to Ceres and run these abyssal beacon keys to earn the resource from what we're calling Vein Thorn, which is the thorn of an extinct rose. And
It had to be a rose.
Had to be a rose.
Had to be a rose.
Vein Thorn is going to be the resource that you use to build Dagath and her haunted sanctuary known as Dagath's Hollow. Yes, so Dagath's Hollow is a dojo room that is perhaps a little cursed, perhaps not. So this new space is going to be for your dojos where you'll be able to, first of all, you'll be able to customize your cave outside of the Duviri setting. So if you don't like going into Duviri just to modify your cave, you can do it in Dagath's Hollow. This place will house, your cave. So this is where your cave will be. There's that. That's her idle animation.
Yeah.
That's actually what caves do when they're in love. Those.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I see. Yes, they're in a committed relationship. Yes.
So you can go to the Shrine of Dagath here, and there actually isn't a research step that you have to wait for this time. You'll build the room. You'll have instant access to replicate her blueprints using the resource from the Syndicate missions. So yeah, there's no research wait for this particular room. However, there is a spooky story. So when this launches, you can listen to the shrine to see what grandmother from Deimos might have to say about Dagath.
How to pronounce it.
How to pronounce it.
Very important thing.
Yeah, the canon pronunciation.
Yeah.
I see.
The
The room is really cool too,
Yes.
just so detailed and interesting.
Yeah, the art team killed it. The idea was we wanted this very spooky room where Dagath had perhaps been laid to rest, and yeah, they nailed it. And when you hear the story, it's probably one of the darker stories we've ever told in Warframe. So great vibe. The sound. Oh yes, the smiling. Perhaps that was once her face.
Oh, but where's her brain?
Aw.
So sad. We'll go back to Nidus here, shall we? We have a Nidus Void Shell skin coming. Ooh.
Lovely.
Also, we have Mirage is going to be getting one. Not this. Don't
Oh
look.
God.
Don't,
Oh,
Don't look,
it's
don't
fine,
look.
it's
Oh,
fine,
wrong
it's
spot,
fine.
wrong spot.
My queen.
She'll be getting very disco-techy.
Oh.
Discoteca. And then we also have Reb's favorite, Protea will be getting a Void Shell. There she is.
Oh my God, she's so beautiful.
It is now time for the quality of life section of this update. Strap in, strap on. First of all, one of the most important. What happens in Vegas? I'm just kidding.
This is like Tenno Con.
It's like Tenno Con all over
Here's
again.
my big box.
One of the big
Strap on.
things, quality of life-wise per se, is deferred rendering.
Yes, well, I don't know if we said the date yet, but in October, the consoles that we support, our beloved console folks, are actually all going to be bumped to deferred-only renderers, which means the classic renderer will no longer be a thing on consoles.
That's right.
Nintendo Switch, all our Xbox and PlayStation SKUs are all going to be supporting deferred. This is obviously hugely important, especially with our Whispers in the Walls graphical plans. That GI lighting only works in deferred. So this is when the switch is going to be made. The Dagath update is going to be a renderer unification for all our consoles.
Yes.
All right. Speaking of date, I kind of forgot and glossed over this, but Abyss of Dagath update is coming October 18th. So everything, this quality of life that we're about to show you, not that, but this quality of life that we're about to show you, October 18th, Dagath, all this stuff, Grendelu Prime, we're going to get into it.
Yeah, basically the first kind of pain point that we had with companions is they were dead all the time.
And that caused a lot of pain.
So that's kind of the first thing that we had to address. So basically what we did is they don't die anymore, they just go incapacitated, which basically means they're disabled for a certain period of time. So you still don't want them to die, so you still want to put on survivability mods and all of that. But if they do, then they're just incapacitated, and after a little bit, they come back. So
Yeah,
Bond
we have the bond mod. Sorry, Danny, I'm skipping one. Yeah, there we go.
yeah, so those are some examples. There's 14 of these mods, I think, 14 new mods like this, and they basically give. We don't want mods that are just about reviving the pets, because then it feels like a wasted slot to invest just on dying. Like that doesn't feel fun. So all of these have like a secondary effect, and all of the ones we have some other secondary effect that is beneficial besides just the reviving.
Yeah. Oh, she knows. She got it.
Yeah, so this is one example for the Raxa. You can see the no mods to the new mods. The with no mods, it increased by 71%, the EHP itself. But even with max mod, it's 72%. Again, it really depends on which of the pets. We have way too many, but just to give you like an example of the sorts of things that happened with increasing the armor, increasing the shields. Later on, we'll talk about other changes to shields that also affect this. But yeah, those are basically the first things that we kind of address. Just a couple of mini
Very
notes.
well.
Basically, there's some updates to how the pets appear in the HUD, just kind of to keep you more informed of what's going on with them. And then a few other mods. Besides the new mods, we also touched up a few of the older mods that we just kind of had
Yeah,
to along
we
the way. I
had
saw a
the-
couple times the same question that I really need to address. I am wearing pants. just to be clear, there are pants,
All right, are we ready for Hydroid rework, everybody?
Yes.
okay?
The cheers, the crowd goes wild.
Sloshy,
Tenno Con audience screams, takes their pants off.
That's right.
Pablo started the trend.
Oh my god.
Take your pants off for the Hydroid rework,
All
because
right.
things are about to get tentacly.
No. All right. So Pablo.
So the passive used to be you did the slam dunk into the ground and then a tentacle came out. It wasn't very useful because generally if you pinpointed a hit directly with the slam, you probably killed the unit or you knocked it away. So it wasn't exactly a very beloved passive. So we changed it and we went for the theme of the corrosive waters of
Briny, salty seas, lad.
So basically, whenever he damages an enemy by any means, they are now more vulnerable to corrosive in general. So the first stack that gets applied to them removes 50% armor instead of the usual 24. Oh, you can see the little icon on top of their heads. That basically means that they're vulnerable to corrosive, and any corrosive stacks will basically, they don't have to be from you. They can be from anything. It can be from your weapons, your abilities, it can be from other allies, doesn't matter, whatever it is, you basically applied it to them. The one used to like knock enemies around, so it was really hard to shoot them because essentially the ability kind of pushed them all over the place. So now it just staggers them, so they kind of stay in place. They still move a little bit because otherwise it really loses the kind of the punch, but now it's they kind of stay in the same range. Then from his two, you can see the water thing.
Water thing.
Yeah, the little water wave.
Yeah.
Tidal
Surge.
Surge. Yeah, for tidal surge, we basically changed it so it kind of grabs enemies better. Before it just kind of knocked them around. Again, kind of like the one, it just spread enemies around, which generally is not what you want. So now it kind of gathers them with you and takes them on a ride. And then a second of silence.
For
the
Undertow. R.I.P. Undertow.
Burial at sea. Walk the plank.
Yeah, so I mean, just to kind of give you like a brief, I think everyone knows why it went. Essentially,
I don't.
being a stationary,
Why did it go?
being a stationary puddle doesn't really match the game at all. Essentially you have to be in like a place.
Ambushed by puddle?
We did try changing the puddle to a castable thing where you were not the puddle, but then the problem is enemies would not walk into the puddle. So you needed to then get a second tool to drag enemies into the puddle, and it just got really messy. In general, we also don't love enemy denial, which is basically hiding enemies from other players, because it just makes the game more boring for them. So yeah, in general, like the puddle just was not working, so we changed it. So the new ability, basically, any enemies in your view, you can plunder their armor and basically steal it for yourself.
Cool.
This scales based on how many enemies there are and also how many corrosive stats they have. So if you're spreading corrosive all over the place, then you plunder the armor and you end up with a bunch of armor and a bunch of...
I like how you made it a theme by calling it plunder.
Plunder. And then, okay, so look at the icon. You can see that Megan set up a group of enemies there. She hit them with some corrosive stacks with her Tempest Barrage, and then boom, the armor was plundered. And this is a survivability ability for our
Yeah,
boy.
so right now, I mean, I think she did it on just a few enemies, but she has 518 armor. You can see there on the upper right, on the lower right, sorry. And 130% corrosive damage added to all your attacks. So you get both of those. You get like a half offensive, half defensive, depending on how many enemies you target. And you know, and it scales again from any corrosive stacks, which you can apply with a 1, you can apply with a 2, and you can apply with a 4. So the tentacle, one of the weird things about it is it used to do magnetic damage, which I found strange. So now it's corrosive, just to go themed with everything else. And instead of flapping the enemies around, which I know a lot of people really dislike because similar to what I mentioned for 1 and 2, it just makes it harder for you to shoot them. Now it just kind of holds them in very awkward positions, as you can see. In very compromising positions for you to
I think
shoot.
I tried that in a yoga class.
Oh my god.
So now it holds them. It's applying the corrosive steel.
It looks cool.
There's been some reanimation to the, like they reanimated.
yeah.
Reanimations.
The new stuff looks really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to change a lot of things there to kind of make this working the way we wanted. It used to scale, now it shifts. There's a whole bunch of...
Cool.
This one had a lot of technical stuff to get sorted, but it basically means that now it really holds enemies in place. Also, if there's available tentacles and enemies enter the zone, the tentacle will kind of go out and grab them so that you can kind of keep it sort of going. It's not just on the first burst to grab them. You just can grab them over time now.
Yeah, hit it from the top,
I think
Reb.
this one we'll just go through pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just under the, generally the philosophy with this is there are some rough edges around that new player experience.
Nope.
No, there's none.
Nope.
And this is basically a treatment pass on some things that we thought we could resolve fairly quickly in the QOL update. Flawed mods are just no longer a part of progression. So the idea that you're earning this broken mod is...
Nope.
What?
No.
I wish you split that point because that has caused a lot of confusion.
Yeah.
So
But
MK1 weapons are not removed because
No.
I just saw another.
Well, no, MK1 weapons are removed from Vor's prize as a weapon you pick. They're still in the market for credits.
They'll still be in your
I'll
inventory.
keep
They're
my
not going
100 form
anywhere.
a MK1 Bratton.
Oh.
The weapons a player chooses will be the bow and the Bratton, no longer Mark 1. They will still be in the market for credits and you will still have yours, no problem. Flawed mods, however, will be removed and exchanged for
The real ones.
the real ones with some rank adjustments at the lower levels so players can actually use them early on. The only flawed mod that's not going away is the April Fool's ammo drum. Early game inbox and junction adjustments, this is just a matter of the grind to progress. Some of our junction tasks were, you know, pick up 20 mods, just some things that felt a little like if you've done it once, you know how to do it, so don't make you do it 20 times. So we've gotten rid of some of the quota junction tasks, let's say, where you have to do 20 of the same thing, and replaced it entirely with a quest-based one. So we want you to play Saya's Vigil before you progress, so you can meet the Ostrons and meet the open world. So we've taken off the sort of to-do lists, and now there is a quest junction task there. Some other management has occurred there. Yes, sir. Then we've also added Universal Enemy Radar, which means any player
Cool.
that plays, you will have a 30-meter enemy radar as a built-in function of the game. You don't need to mod or upgrade for that. Obviously your mods and upgrades will enhance it and make it bigger and better, but just as a default playstyle improvement, especially for new players that don't really know the intricacies of where enemies hide in levels or visibility, it's just there. Wave Rider, the Yoreli quest, has a rework. We've gone from 25 challenges to 15. Most of the challenges are actually combat or different input based. We're not going to make you do a ton of tricks. If you cut to Meg's screen, Danny, you can kind of see page unlocks are down, and there's just simply less challenges overall. Some are a bit more combat focused. So the Yoreli Wave Rider quest has been reworked in terms of what it asks of you, and Vox Solaris has simply been rebalanced, but maybe not, because sounds like
No, it has.
It has.
Yeah,
Okay.
the overall difficulty has just been
A lot of players
reduced.
get stomped in that if they go the core path from Earth to Venus, do Vox Solaris, and then they die and die and die and die and die.
And then Cetus Wisp.
Yeah, so Cetus Wisps run away from you, and players don't know they're there. It's cute. They go up to the sky. They just won't do that anymore. They no longer have the fight or flight reaction. The flight, they've been reprogrammed to love you and wait for you.
Aww.
So Cetus Wisps will no longer flee. That was very confusing for new players. And then the Necromech acquisition changes are actually pretty substantial. The way to earn a Necromech has been heavily reliant on RNG, fighting the mechs, they drop the parts, go, go, go. We tried to improve this with our past, where we just inbox do the blueprints and you would still have to go get the components. So that was step one. It helped. What's going to help a bit more is if we put the pieces on Necroloid for token exchange. So you can actually, it's basically the pity system. If you get enough matrices that you're like, oh, I haven't got the parts yet, you can turn them in to buy them. So we've essentially added the RNG pity system to Necromech acquisition for your Void Rig.
There you go.
Yeah, so enemy highlight, I think that was, generally, I think the visibility of enemies has always been, especially in a very dense and very fast game that we have. For us, we're very used to it, and I'm sure a lot of the players that are actually watching this are super used to it. But we have seen that a lot of people do struggle kind of spotting where enemies are.
Lighting.
We have an asset.
Yeah.
So this is what you would see or not see. Can you find the Grenier?
I can.
Can you find the
I
Grenier?
can. It's easy.
Maybe he's in a puddle somewhere.
Maybe he's sucked under a puddle. So with the new enemy highlighting system, bam! You can see it. And allies. You can see yourself and your allies.
Yeah, you can select to turn it on enemies, on allies, and even on yourself. And you can tweak the color and the intensity on yourself and on allies. Honestly, even for me, just
nice.
trying it with a low intensity, just a tiny bit to help
Yeah.
on some of the darker tosses, I found
Makes a
to
big
be-
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
And you can choose if you wanted to highlight yourself or not, just so you're excluded from that if you don't want to be your own ally.
Your lap.
Conservation improvements. We have a couple images for this.
We
I
sure
believe.
do, Pablo.
Made the trail harder to see.
Yes.
What
So
are we
bit
looking
much.
at here? We got some paw prints.
We
They're
need
all
some
the
more
same.
icons.
Yeah.
Let's add more.
More.
With a
Yeah,
highlight
so
around
the current one adds an icon for each conservation spot, and they're all the same.
Yeah.
So the new one makes different icons for each animal type, and only shows you the nearest one of each type, so it doesn't get as crazy.
Better
yeah,
looking
so
trails.
the trails for the footprints, that's how it was before, so this is how it looks on live. And you can see the first couple footprints there, but as soon as it goes into the grass, it becomes impossible to see. I think of all the things, this is the main thing that people complain about. So if we look at the new version, it is
wow.
significantly more visible, so you can track them quite a bit easier.
So, okay, but what if I broke my arm and I want to still play
Well,
Warframe?
we have auto melee coming to Warframe.
Oh.
So for the longest, since the dawn of time,
Coincidence.
since the dawn of time, man has yearned to harness the power of Warframe's melee. And with all of the amazing animation work that has happened in all our combos, players have been able to spam the melee button to achieve forward combos, neutral combos, any number of things. So Meg, go ahead and spam that E button. Danny, come over to gameplay. Look at her go.
Oh, look at me go.
Look at her go.
Oh, I'm amazing.
Now,
I'm amazing.
what if you just held E?
Wrist, it's broken.
What if I just held E?
What if you just held?
Oh, let me just take a sip.
So-
of my-
Auto. Yeah.
Wow.
So
okay.
auto melee is as simple as it's just a feature in the game by default. You can choose to hold or you can choose to sequence steps. It is up to you.
Cool.
If you want to hold, hold. If you don't, don't.
Yeah, here we go. All right, when you log into Warframe for the first time, when an update pops, you get a little screen with your Warframe kneeling there with a big old wall of text that we do write ourselves. So please appreciate
please
that.
read it.
Please read it. We do write that, and it is honestly just a wall of text that tries its best to summarize the update in as many less bullet points as it possibly can. But now we've updated the history screen to really show you way better at a glance, give you options to really navigate. You can go to the patch notes, you can go to the market. It's really just Much better. Buffs and debuffs in the pause menu, Pablo.
Okay, I want us to walk through an Octavia player's life.
Yes.
You're Octavia, you're buffing your allies, you're dancing your heart out, you are hitting those BPMs, you are grinding, you are grooving. Your squad mates look over at you and say, what the hell are all these icons?
Yeah, basically we have a whole bunch of buffs. In fact, we checked and it's over 900 of them. So basically,
I couldn't believe that when I was watching it. I was like, no, 900. Yep.
yeah, so there's a lot of icons that often it's very hard to know what they are, especially if you're just starting the game and you're just seeing like little symbols appear, you don't know what they are. So now you can essentially press escape and they'll stay there, so you can hover and kind of understand what they are.
Also, in accessibility that I missed, so sorry, is, and we talked about this earlier, was the weapon trait displays in upgrades. So, Danny, if you'd like to go to my game, please and thank you. Our example today is the new door clef. Obviously, the description exists here, and it has a bit of a passive effect to it. But it would be nice to know this information while I'm in my upgrade screen, while I'm putting my mods on. So what do we have here, Pablo?
Yeah, essentially it's kind of in the same vein. Every weapon that has a special trait, anything that would make it work different, and unless you read the description, you wouldn't know about it, is now surfaced
People don't
here.
read.
People don't read, exactly.
Damn.
So now at least there's something that looks different here whenever you go to a weapon. And also the descriptions in here will tend to be much more detailed, like they'll have actual numbers and stuff. Whereas a lot of the descriptions that you find in most weapons, actually I was surprised that this one had numbers. Most of the times we just put like flavor stuff on those descriptions. So you have to go and check the wiki to understand how they work. So now the information will be here so that you kind of know what's going on as you're modding.
QOL.
Major QOL of system changes and general quality of life.
All right. This
First
is a
and
big
foremost.
list. Yeah. I'll blast through what I think I can do quickly, and then you can go along on the ones that need more support. Firstly, the focus lens convergence and buff. This is really just focus can be grindy. There's a lot of focus schools. If you ever wanted to complete them all, it might take some time. We've simply buffed the rate at which affinity is exchanged for focus across all lenses. Percentage increases, so you're just getting more focus. And additionally, when you hit up the convergence orb, it'll actually give you focus itself.
Shields!
Yes, so this is actually going to be the biggest section, I think, to discuss, and I'll let you do it.
Under the bus.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, so shields basically, shields have always been like less preferred than health and armor. Most people don't put in redirection, things like that. And we felt like they needed some love. Right now you're bizarrely incentivized to have lower shields so that shield gate can activate faster, which really kind of works against kind of what you would expect, that having more shields should make shields stronger. So we're doing several changes. Starting with shield gate will now scale based on how many shields you have. So if you're around 350 shields, 360, something like that, you have the exact same shield gate duration as you have on live right now. Anything above, it grows all the way to 2.5. I think the one in live right now is 1.33. You can get all the way to 2.5 if you have larger shields. So that means that shield gate duration can actually last quite a bit. Not only that, but right now, the way it works in live, if you have regenerated 1% of your shields or 99% of your shields, you get the same shield duration, the bottom one. We changed it so now it actually grows linearly. So if you're at 50% shields, you're going to get half the shield gate duration and not just the lower one. So you basically have, it is way better protection now.
Yeah, it would incentivize you to consider investing in shield regen and a bigger shield capacity.
The other change that came with that is right now shields on the live build diminish all damage taken by 25%. We bumped that up to 50%, so essentially you now have a 33% bonus there of damage received. And the main reason for that is sometimes shields feel like paper and they just kind of disappear very quickly. So we just want to make them a little more resistant.
And this applies to companion shields as well, which is why the EHP buff may have felt very large, and that's because shields now mitigate more damage, just as a stat.
Obviously, for anyone that uses the famous Decaying Dragon key, you can think of yourself, well, if it scales with the size of my shields, that means the Decaying Dragon key no longer works. And that is true. Decaying Dragon key strategy is pretty bad now. So what we did is we basically made it into, we did the classic make a change into a feature. So we now have a mod that essentially does what the old Dragon key did. Sets your shield gate to 1.33 because it's exactly what we have on live, and it reduces your shields by to 25% of what they were. So it essentially does the same, but now you have to pay a mod slot for it.
Yeah, and I think for that, we are giving the mod away for an alert for the week after launch. So Dagath will launch that new mod, which is a corrupted mod. It will be put in the corrupted vaults where you get your other corrupted mods. But for 1 week, up for free in an alert completely.
You can go to my screen and my gameplay real quick, Danny. There it is. Catalyzing shields.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's the one. We're gonna go a little bit out of order on that, but we're gonna go to Warframe level up stats.
Yeah. Okay. So this one is
Pop quiz.
yeah.
We have a pop quiz for it.
This one is both a gigantic change and a change that you probably won't even notice.
Favorite kind.
Insert
both things
slide
at
one,
once.
Danny.
Slides one.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
you're good at math, Steve. Tell me.
your rank 30 Excalibur has
Yep.
300 health. You add a Vitality mod with 440% health. How much health do you have?
This makes my eyes. This makes me cross my eyes. Yep.
So if you've ever played Warframe, you know that the answer is 740, which is a bit of a weird math. You wouldn't expect that 440% of 300 health would get you there. But the reality is that that percentage applies on the number of the health number that you had at rank 0, which is not a number you see for long, and it's not something that's exposed. So it's very hard to kind of understand the why for anyone that's just starting the game. So what we did is we changed it so that the level up stats now apply directly to the base. So that means any mods that you put on grow the base, that entire stat. Obviously, that means that we cannot keep Vitality at 440%, or it would be insane. So we kind of redid all the numbers, not only to simplify that, but also to raise the floor. What that means is basically when you don't have mods, you're now a little higher on health, but then with the mods, you basically end up kind of the same place. So you can see in that example, you have the old health at 300, now it's 370, the armor grew by 15, and then the shields grew by 70, and essentially a rank 30 Excalibur with no extra mods has 36% more EHP. But then if you put on the max mods, so if you put all the Vitality, Resurrection, and the Steel Fiber, you basically only end up 7% higher. And the main reason for that 7% is the change we talked about earlier, where shields now absorb more damage.
Yeah, it's not actually a statistical change in the raw numbers, it's a damage mitigation change. However, to be clear, if we've done our job right here, you probably won't notice anything, except easier.
It'll be clearer.
It'll just be clearer.
Yep.
That's the goal. You're the best.
So our quality of life changes for the Breaking Armor missions are Call see more. Call now has loot radar and enemy radar. Call go fast. Call's max speed and overall walking speed has been increased. Call earn stock. We've added stock pickups to Breaking Armor missions, and Call will now find additional weapons next to his fallen brothers as a way to add more variety to overall gameplay. Nightwave changes.
Yeah.
Nightwave.
Nightwave changes.
Do you want to just blitz through those?
I'll
We're
blitz.
running low on time.
3, 2, 1. We're adding 3 permanent weekly acts intended to be unlocked with regular Warframe gameplay. For the next series, we've done a complete act audit with the goal of reworking, removing, and adding new challenges to the system. Acts are getting changes that we felt reasonable to do.
So there is a dev workshop on this.
There is a dev workshop that will list it all out to reduce the grind, to complete some acts, and expand in the ways players can actually complete them. And for the first time, when you log into Nightwave series, when we have a new one that pops up, you're going to get a screen that kind of highlights at a glance what Nightwave
And
can
it's
offer
all
you.
pictures, so you don't have to read it.
No reading.
No reading necessary.
Yeah, so the TLDR there is permanent acts are in addition to everything else, and those are ones we think you can earn in the natural state of play just to make your life a bit easier to progress in Nightwave.
Damage
I'll just take this
attenuation.
one pretty quickly. This is only in the context of Archons and Archon hunts. We do have damage attenuation, aka damage pillows, on these boss units, which lead to like kind of 2 paths. If you don't have the build that one-shots them, you're usually, I think you like to say, chopping wood.
Yep.
You know, you're just shooting away, waiting for the damage pillows to kick in.
Oh man.
What we've done with the initial goal was sometimes you can be in an Archon fight for 25 minutes, depending on if you're playing with people that don't really know the meta. So we've just taken the damage pillow. If you like, this is a visual metaphor. Right now, it's like it lets this much damage in over the attenuation, and we've kind of made it like that. So we've just made it so that you'll be doing more damage to Archons more frequently. The intention is to shave off, on average, if you're not using your one-hit builds, shave off the time it takes to complete an Archon run. This dev workshop, it will be live after this. It'll go through how it's going to impact the spread of ways that you deal damage to the Archons, because right now, criticals roll after the damage attenuation. It's just kind of all over the place. So we're just, widening the gap so that people with high rate of fire weapons, with other things, can do more damage. The pillows have essentially just been blasted to be more damage gets in, damage is calculated to try and make them go faster for players that, find them a little too long. And that's basically it. Okay, this is actually going to save Warframe. This is
it.
This is the one we've been waiting
Before,
for.
barrels were the worst. Enemies would laugh at your barrels. Look at them laughing. They see your barrels, they don't care.
Oh,
But now they care.
They
Dead.
do care.
They scale.
Yeah, so basically, it's essentially that. The barrels were just kind of for funsies before, because they didn't really do enough damage to have any impact to enemies. So now they do, and depending on how close the enemy is to the barrel, sometimes they insta kill, as you're seeing there. If they're a little further away, they take a lot of damage, but they don't fully die.
Going back to that comment we saw earlier about incarnate evolutions, if you're involved in the incarnate system, you know that you pick a perk and you're set with that perk for life. You're locked in.
Forever.
Now you're not.
Yeah, we basically made it
Gameplay,
so
Danny?
at least swapping them around, you can now do directly in the arsenal, so you don't have to go to Caballero to swap them around. You still have to go to Caballero to unlock, to install your incarnate adapter. Essentially anything that's like an actual progression of the incarnate system, you still have to visit Caballero for him to help you out with this. But just to swap them around, you can now do it directly here at your convenience.
Do the barrels do friendly fire?
They do friendly fire, but it's extremely reduced. So you basically it's not impossible for you to murder
Scaling
yourself.
Gotta be a
Fire.
gamer. Gotta be a gamer.
Well, if you're
What
rank
do?
9 in the Duviri opportunity, whoosh, there's new rewards.
Not gonna lie, I picked mine already. Sorry, Pablo.
Yeah, so basically you can you get all the options for incarnates just as usual. But if you want, if you unlock that particular intrinsic, you can now select a ribbon instead, a ribbon or two instead. Basically, there's the three main types appear there for you to choose. So you have something to do once you went through all the incarnate adapters and you have them all.
Yep, there you go.
And that's it.
I have a few.
It's gamer. I love it.
What do you got?
What do you got?
We did a pass on mod description revisions. Basically, we changed about 50 mod descriptions to be more clear. Just things that were kind of
Awesome.
confusing about how they worked before. 50 plus all the Bane mods also got touched, so it's a bunch of different mods that got updated. The finisher types. So basically, there's a lot of things like decrease and things like that, or an augment for in arrows that was tied to finishers that wouldn't trigger from mercy finishers or from ground finishers. Basically, we had like a distinction between finisher, ground finisher, and mercy finisher. So now all of those would respond to the same. Basically, they would trigger the same events, and also ground finishers will now deal true damage. So they're quite a bit stronger.
Also coming with the Abyss of Dagath update on October 18th is Grendel Prime.
It has been so long. Our sweet baby Grendel.
Come on over to yeah. Oh, there he is.
So cool.
Oh, look at those tusks, baby. Look at those tusks.
Oh my god, he looks so good. He is getting a Prime trailer, which will be launching closer.
Looking fun.
And it's looking very fun.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we got Grendel Prime. Coming with Grendel Prime is the Xylock Prime, of course, and even more, of course, it's the potato on a stick, the Masseter Prime.
I'm so glad this.
Look at that.
This weird weapon
Look
got
at
made.
look at it
It's
go.
the most insane, intricate melee weapon we
it's
have.
amazing,
It's
yeah.
ridiculous.
It's like a
literally
rototiller. I love it.
Yeah, it
It's
is
so good.
So many
potato.
times I tried to get this.
Also coming with Grendel is a Prime Sindana, the Sumba Prime Sindana,
it's amazing.
and the
That's
ephemera
sweet.
that you saw earlier is the Oni Prime ephemera, which is very dainty for our boy Grendel. I think it looks incredible.
No, it's such a
It's
cool-
incredible.
It's so good.
Show that asset that you know and love from Tenno Live. We did announce on Tenno Live that cross-platform save is coming in 2023. That is still the goal. That is still the plan.
It's
that
still
is still what we're-
2023.
It is
Still
still
2023.
Also mentioned during Tenno Live is that we were going to have some behind-the-scenes code that is in Abyss of Dagath that is going to lead to the rollout of eventually cross-save. And one of those things is the clan system and how that's going to function overall.
Yes, we're doing a merge so that we have, a single source of truth for clans and social under the hood, and the Dagath update will unify that.
Yes.
And there will be something the players notice, so I assume that's what we're going to talk
That's
about.
what I was about to
Okay,
say.
you go right ahead.
For the Abyss of Dagath update, we are adding cross-play clans. So if you opt in, that's going to let you invite players from other platforms to join your clan. It also shows if you have a clan advertisement on other platforms, they can see it, they can request to join your clan cross-play. Now I know this is a cross-play feature, but like you said, it's part of a much larger initiative behind the scenes for cross-save when it comes to clans and comes to dojos. So there will be behind-the-scenes code involved in that is going to result in things later on, but this is kind of the first step
Yeah,
as
gotta
we
hoist and
Yeah.
move things around. We have nothing to share on trading or merging right now. We're going to need more time to give you the true facts versus what we think we are going to do. So.
Is the cross play friends stuff isn't in this one either, is it?
I thought the friends list was.
I thought the friends
That might
be.
be-
It's at least setting the stage for it. Like
Yes.
I've seen it being tested
Plans
anyway,
are,
right?
yeah, it is
Yep.
being tested right now.
Yep.
Cross-platform friends
Yeah.
is being tested right now.
Yep.
It will be coming. I'm not sure if it's in this update, but
Yep.
this is. We need this update to get there.
Yep.
So that's the point.
making
Yep.
steps. We are making steps.
Yep.
All right, Danny, do you mind just doing the Abyss of Dagath slide? Just the big and we'll just really quickly recap.
Oh my God! People are gonna want shield blessings now. For
Oh, legendary people. Progress. All right, just to recap everything we just talked about, not Warframe. Update 34, Abyss of Dagath, launching October 18th. Our 54th Warframe, her new melee weapon, the clave, whatever. Dagath, whatever. Alt helmet, Kaith cosmetics, dojo room, we got void shell skins, we got Knights of Nabarus stuff. All of that quality of life that you listen to us talk about, show you, is all coming.
So
Those
much cool
reworks
stuff.
are all coming. Grendel Prime and all that great stuff. So that is all October 18th. Coming to you live, all platforms. We'll see you then for that.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. That's finally it. Jeff, thank you for being here. Steve, thanks for being here.
Pleasure.
Great shirt.
Oh,
Reb,
thank
thanks
you.
for being here. Great hat.
Yep.
Paulo, thanks for being here and wearing
Nice pants.
pants.
Nice pants.
Danny, thank you for running the stream.
Danny, catch!
Jenny.
Oh my God. All right, we will see you in 2 hours for prime time. Bye, everybody.
Thank-